Happy Friday. Well, that's when you'll be watching the video. I actually recorded it on Sunday, but welcome to the Infinite Spark Collective. I'm Kimberley, the founder, your guide, mentor, teacher, coach, helping you walk the path to not only spiritual awakening, but learning how to connect to that infinite spark, the God and Goddess within you. And whether you're a twin flame, because not everybody is, or whether you're not, and you're just on the path of spiritual awakening, my coaching is really to help you, and only you, get to that inner union of integrating the divine feminine and divine masculine within you. And I'm actually in the process of designing content, I guess you could say writing content, um, or ideas anyway, for a second series of books. I am currently working on my first 3-book series called Decoding the Soul Blueprint. And once that's ready to go and I get the business launched, they'll be available. The other series is going to be about inner union, or as some people call it, Heroes Gamos. And I'm going to break it down into 6 books about physical wellness, mental wellness, emotional wellness, spiritual connection and wellness, inner child healing, shadow work, and then the final book would be about how to take and put all of that together in a program for yourself to help you do it, along with other things that I may not have covered in the other 5 books. Anyhow, today is the collective bridge reading. I do it every Friday. And I'm very excited because I have 2 new decks that I am going to use today. The Romance and Love Oracle cards, the Clarifying Love Situations, and it's actually Love and Relationship Shadow Work. I actually do have another shadow work card deck that I may use in general readings, like the Spirit and Heart of the Divine Collective. And then we're going to see what your specific person, twin flame, or whatever, has going on with their heart's hidden secrets. So, not used this first deck yet. I only got it yesterday. But I think I'm done buying decks now. I've got everything I need. That's another thing the universe has really been able to provide me. I've been looking for card decks to do the certain readings that I do, and these ones just started showing up. I swear, Amazon must be psychic. So let's pull a card from the Romance and Love Oracle. Well, folks, here's your confirmation. Twin flame. Now, I'm one. I'm in separation. I'm not going to deny it. But I'm going to tell you this. My goal as a coach is never and has never been to get you into union with your twin flame, because that's not what it's about. That union, physical union, being with them, is a bonus prize when you have gone through the Heroes Gamos process. And it is a process, it's not something like a one and done. And when you get on your purpose. And I'm going to help you with those things in various ways. Hopefully, if I can get some funding soon and I can upgrade my equipment and stuff, I will start doing coaching videos on here. Just little freebies that will, once I get my business launched, um, ask you to go check out my ebooks or whatever, right? So here's what it says. Trust the magnetic pull of your twin flame. It will guide you towards them. Now, this is something, it's you can never push it away. You are always connected. This being said, what I'm being told, my guides are saying it's fine to acknowledge the pull. I acknowledge it when mine happens. But I notice it less and less, and I do not get emotionally um, thrown into upheaval or longing or anything when I'm on my purpose, when I'm doing things for me, for myself, my life. And that could be anything. That could be writing my ebooks. That could be watching stuff on streaming. When I'm doing stuff for myself, it makes me feel good, that allows me to be who I am, as I am less caught up in the actual dynamic itself. And that's not a bad thing, because the one thing you need to remember, if nothing is going on in the 3D, you can't make it happen, okay? But if there's nothing or seemingly nothing going on in 3D, I'm going to tell you this because this is my own experience. And even if there's no physical connection, no contact, no seeing each other. And my guides are saying, for those of you who've never ever met your twin flame, but you know they exist, in 3D, if there's no physical, tangible evidence that you two connect with each other or whatever, there's still energy between you in 3D. It's an energetic connection. That's the one thing my guides are yelling at me. You must tell them. This is not a physical boy meets girl love relationship. Yes, the love is there, but it's all kinds of love. The connection is energetic. And I can tell you, based upon my personal experience with a false twin flame prior to meeting my true twin flame, the energy is always there. False twin flame, I'll get into another tangent, and I don't want to go down that road. But what I'm always constantly aware of, regardless of whether I talk to him or see him or interact with him or whatever, there's still that energy between us. And I have to learn to ground it. And I have to learn to really pull back from getting involved what his actions mean, what his words mean when he's not talking to me, when he's not interacting with me. I have to realize that there's an underlying current, that we are always connected, and that I have to use that connection for my spiritual alignment and my spiritual growth and get on my purpose. And I'm doing that with these readings. I'm working on creating content like this to grow my channel so that when I do release my business, there'll be people who want to go and, take part in getting my ebooks, maybe attending the school community and learning from me on various things, and taking part in what I plan to do there on the school community. I'm still working on all that. And I have to remember that the more I am in the energy and sovereignty of myself through all the various things that I do with, my daily routines and stuff in terms of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness, etc. The more I do that, the more likely, especially with me being on purpose, the more likely he will shift. And I already intuitively know because he's the one who awakened my Kundalini. He's the one who brought back all my psychic abilities to a point where I've never had them before. I used to do readings on YouTube a long time ago when I had the idea of doing them. And I could never tap in like this to my higher self, to my guides, to what God, the universe, is telling me. I never did that before. He did this for me. And I am so grateful. So do not negate what is not happening in your dynamic, okay? Don't do that. Don't do that. Because all you're going to do is drag yourself down. And if you truly want union, you got to do, I'm just going to be blunt, you got to do what I'm doing. It's not just spiritual work, it's mental wellness. And there's a lot of free resources out there. Until I get my business going and get the ebooks out and stuff, which are going to help you, there's going to be, in every book, there's all kinds of exercises and stuff that I'm going to put in there for you, and a list of resources of people you can go check out on Instagram and YouTube and social media, like really quality teachers, like people that I follow and have learned from. Okay. If you really want to change your life, you got to do the work. And I know there are people out there right now watching me who are going, no, it's got to be my twin flame. They've got to do this and they've got to do that. No, because when we come here to Earth, we each have different roles in our twin flame dynamic. Okay? And we both carry the energy of divine masculine and divine feminine within us, which is part of the whole reason I'm going to teach you about what inner union is and integrating that and becoming self-realized and self-actualized. As I learn it, I create material in the frame of the way I've learned it and the way I implement what I learn. Okay? If you don't do these things and you're waiting, hoping for them to take the steps, no. Because as a woman who is more in her divine feminine energy, I'm the spiritual, I'm the inflow, I'm, all about this, call it for what it is, woo-woo stuff. But I love the woo-woo, right? I love the woo-woo stuff. I always have. Okay? I am and have been ultimately more the divine feminine energy in this lifetime, in this twin flame dynamic. I have had to work very hard to bring out my sovereign divine masculine. And how did I do that? I figured out my purpose. My purpose and my passion is to be a holistic spiritual coach, and not just for twin flames, but for anybody who wants to grow, expand, and evolve. Okay? Because as I learn, I then make notes, keep a journal and stuff, and then I'll be honest, I use AI, I use Gemini to help me write the book. I tell them, this is what I want to talk about it. Write me a chapter. And we go through it and we break it down and we make it usable in easy to understand language and easy to implement exercises and things for you to do. Because it's how I've learned, right? And I am a firm believer when it comes to anything spiritual, take what you want and leave the rest. If a teacher, I mean, I love the teachers that I work with: David Kaznicki, Edward Mannix. I could go on with all the teachers and mentors that I have, right? And I honestly have never read all their books. I have them, I haven't read them, and I know I'm going to make time for that. I mean, honestly, if you saw the amount of books I have, and not just the ebooks, the books over in this bin I have on psychology and all that kind of stuff. If you saw all the effort that I'm putting in to creating this business and balancing that with the spiritual side of me, the physical wellness I'm doing for myself, the mental and emotional balance I'm creating within myself, honest to God, I am a very different person than I was when I first met my twin flame. Because I was all about manifesting union back then, and the waiting and the hoping and the everything else. And it wasn't pushing him away, but he has his own part of the journey to work. Just like your twin flame has their own journey, whether that's with a karmic partner that they've got lessons to learn, whether it's finally realizing what they need to do for themselves, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, etc. You can't do it for them. You can't fix them. You can't heal them. And it's you've got to work on. And change is hard, I know. Okay? But if you truly want the best life you can create, you got to do the work to create it. So I'm going to pull one of these clarifying love situation cards, and they essentially are shadow work cards. Now, so many people have the idea of shadow work. It's very different. But these cards, I'll show you the card in a minute. Because just like those cards, these don't have a book. Wild at Heart, that's, whoops, Restraints Test. So let's see what the Wild at Heart is. Because for me, when these kind of shadow work cards come up like this, and I have several decks, my Inner Temple deck has those too. I read both because my guides tell me you're in between this. Now you see, Wild at, Wild at Heart, a desire for freedom leads to running away again. This tells me that your twin is looking to get out of whatever situation they're in, and it's going to make them run away again, but they're not running from you. It's going to make them run from themselves, because that's really what the runner is. The runner's not running from you. They're running from themselves. They're running from doing the work. You're the mirror that shows them. I experience that in my own dynamic, okay? And just to let you know, in one of my older readings, I mentioned this. He and I are roommates. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So I have learned now when he is running, as he is, I've stopped calling myself the chaser because I'm on my own purpose and I'm doing my thing and I'm doing who I am and creating a new me, right? And a new life. Okay? But what the runner is running from is themselves. It's not that they don't want to do the work. It's that you mirror so brightly to them the possibility of who they know they are meant to be, and they're not prepared to do it yet. They got to go through whatever they got to go through, okay, to finally come back to themselves. That's what it is. So I'm also hearing you're running from yourselves. What did I say earlier about doing the work? You want freedom. In order to create freedom, you got to stop running away from your own self. Do you get me? Okay. The other part of the card is restraints test. Trapped in instability, resist impulsive urges to find steadier ground. That means both you and your twin flame got to go through the crap you're going through right now, okay? Now, we all know we tend to create our own crap, right? We do, we do, we do tend to create our own crap. Mostly unknowingly, sometimes knowingly. When you know that you're creating your own stuff, your own blocks and everything else, that's a wake-up call. Don't just run to go try to find something better. Don't just run away from yourself and negate not even doing the work. Because true freedom is you being whole in the sense that the journey to inner union and doing the shadow work and the inner child healing and the physical wellness and mental wellness and emotional intelligence work and all that kind of stuff, doing those things brings you back, your soul back, to remembering that you're already whole, complete, and fulfilled. Just our conscious mind, our human selves, forget it. All the flippin' time, every moment of the day, we forget it. And it's only when we take the time to take the action, or even inaction in the sense of resting and integrating, you learn for a while, you let it integrate. Then when you've integrated it enough, purged, done the doing, right? Then you go back. Think of it like a mountain. You can't go from the base to the summit in one leap. You got to crawl your way up there. And it isn't fun. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. So let's see what the hidden message from your specific person is. I've been told to pull 2 cards. Okay. I have abandoned and withdrawn. Do not think I mean that this person is abandoning you. Because even though it says left out, walked away cold, that's the abandonment wound. Okay? That is what the issue is. Both of you trigger in each other the wound of abandonment. And I'm going to make a community post to cover various things I talked about in each video this week. For some reference. So go check out the community post. There'll be a mention of the company I used to work with, Color Energy Corporation, and I'm going to talk about the abandonment wound. Okay, if I don't post the only reason I mentioned the Color Energy Corporation is when I first started doing the readings. The first recording I did, I gave myself an aura cleansing, um, but I somehow the camera screwed up, so I had to restart over with the Spirit and Divine Collective reading. So I'll mention that. Um, in there, I'll give you a link so you guys can go look at the products they have. And then I'm going to talk about the abandonment wound. Okay, and I'll put that in the community post. To work on the abandonment wound, withdrawn. Because you guys have triggered the abandonment wound within each other, there's a lot of solitary, lonely work you've got to do to work through that. Because when I make a community post, I'm going to talk about the abandonment wound and what really it means that it's trying to show you. Okay. Single, solitary, lonely. Let's negate the lonely part, because lonely is only lonely when you're not comfortable with being by yourself. When you are not comfortable with your own company, you're going to feel lonely because you feel like you need to be with your twin flame, be around other people, whatever. The key thing is solitary. As I said earlier, you got to do the work. It's solitary work. Okay? It's turning within. The single thing, it's not resonating. Okay? But like I said, the lonely and the solitary does. I can really feel like some of you are really feeling lonely, longing for your twin flame. But you got to do the solitary work to clear up your abandonment wounds. Love and honor your inner child. Do the shadow work. And shadow work isn't just about anger or envy or jealousy or whatever. There's a dark shadow and a golden shadow. Carl Jung spoke of it. There's a book I mentioned, I think in one of my other posts, by Rohit Sahu. He talks about the dark and the golden shadow. You can Google it. Maybe I'll do another post on the dark shadow and the golden shadow as well this week. So I thank you for being here for the Collective Bridge reading. Welcome to the Infinite Spark Collective, one of the most wonderful places on the internet for your soul. Until I see you again, namaste.